The first season of Hat Atelier's anime just ended, so I wanted to give an honest review of the series. I'll be sharing my opinions on the plot, the characters, and other parts which I found interesting. The series was written and illustrated by Kamome Shirahama, and I've linked some interviews she's done in the description. So we'll start off with what piqued my interest initially, and the first part is the art style of Hat Atelier being very unique and detailed, and this makes it look like traditional European fairy tale art, which adds to the setting being a medieval fantasy world. Next up we have Kiefer's character design, which is similar to Gojo's, though he's a very different character, and his glasses are mysterious because he has one black lens, and we still don't know what it's about, but it's clear that he's hiding something with it. Then we have the magic system, which is based around drawing magic circles. So anyone can technically use it, but they can only do it if they know about the skill and the technique behind it. The last thing that made me interested was that the authors of Ascendance of a Bookworm and Hat Atelier are friends, and they've even done art collaborations together, which is really cool. Like, Kamome Shirahama drew this for Bookworm. So now we're going to move on to books and shows that I would compare Hat Atelier to. And first of all, there's Harry Potter, because the idea of an atelier is kind of similar to Harry Potter going to his wizarding school, and like how witches are like hidden from society in general, but witches in Hat Atelier are not hidden from society, but the actual technique is hidden. So that's kind of similar but different. The next thing I'd compare Hat Atelier to is Keeper of the Lost Cities, which is a really long series, and I'd compare the setting aspects because they're very detailed and very fantasy-like, and they include a lot of things which are traditionally more seen in like mythology, like underwater locations. So now we'll talk about the plot of Hat Atelier, which had a lot of different aspects to it. There's an idea of good versus evil, but it's not quite as simple as that, because the pointed caps are seen as good because they abide by the magical law that's set about to prevent like harm to the environment and to people. But then there's also the brimmed caps who want to be free to use magic however they want, and it kind of makes a dilemma because there's moments where you can see that the law isn't really helping the people who need it the most, such as one character who had this condition called Silver Eye, which nobody seemed to help him until Coco, who doesn't even have much experience with magic, came along, and she ended up helping the character. And it was kind of just sad because you could see that even in a system which is supposed to be good, they're not helping the people who need it. Then we have the Knights Moralis, who's like the law enforcement for the magical world, but they don't even act properly, or at least the one who comes to see the situation that's happened with the environmental destruction. They straight away blame Coco because she was the one who cast the spell, but they didn't even investigate or anything around the area to see how that happened in the first place, and they didn't even listen to what she said when she was like, she didn't cause that, like she didn't cause such mass destruction, she was only trying to save a person with a small spell. So they didn't listen at all, which kind of reflects things that happen in real life. And we also have morally grey characters such as Kiefer, who's really nice to his apprentices, but whenever someone seems to get in the way of whatever he's planning or his investigation, he seems to become really dark. Like he doesn't take no for an answer, and he threatens people as well, which is like, you see him as a really nice character on one hand, but then you don't really know if you can fully trust him on the other. Another important thing that drives the plot forward is the characters' motivations for learning. So in the Atelier we have Riche, we have Agot, we have Coco obviously, and we have Tetia, and they each have their own reasons for learning, so we follow them as they go through the story. But we can see how, depending on different people's circumstances and backgrounds and what they believe in, the reasons why they're trying to improve themselves are different, and they might not even want to improve themselves, like Riche, who only wants to use her own skills to better her magic. But we can tell that the situation is kind of complex in that you have to sometimes step out of your comfort zone if you want to learn more. And lastly, for talking about the plot, we have the fantasy world building, which is very detailed, but also it supports the ideas that are carried through the story. For example, the idea of environmental destruction caused by magic that goes out of hand, like how the Dada range was made, and the serpent something, I forgot what it was called, but a lot of the more mystical elements of the land are actually created by problems when magic goes out of control. And that's a way that the pointed caps support their ideals and way of life by saying we can't have magic that is unregulated. Now we'll move on to my predictions for future events based on season 1 of the anime. So first off, I think the brimmed caps need Coco because she has some kind of prophesized latent power. Second, I think someone close to Keyfree was targeted by the brimmed caps once, and he got hurt trying to save them as well, and that motivated him to become very skilled and search for clues that could lead him to saving the person. And third, I think Keyfree's eyes covered because it was either mutilated by the brimmed caps, or he experimented on himself with forbidden magic, or the brimmed caps somehow cursed him, which kind of links to the first thing. And I think Coco might leave with the brimmed caps if they tip her over the edge and she thinks there's no alternative to saving the others, but probably not by her own, free will. Overall, I give the series 4.5 stars out of 5 because the plot execution was perfect and there were interesting character dynamics as well as the art style being stunning. I didn't give it 5 stars because I've read a lot of series that were similar, though this might change once I rewatch it, since I think it will help to immerse myself in the artwork better, which is one of the key parts of the story. So yes, Hat Atelier is well worth the watch, and I'm interested to see which direction it takes in the future.